welcome to We Never Met, the podcast where I have interesting strangers on every single week. And today we have, you guys can introduce yourselves.
Andy Kosanke.
Joe Tomcheck.
And together you are...
Paper Holland. We were supposed to say that together, I think.
Part of Paper Holland.
2/6. Wait,
One-third.
I needed 1/3. I needed to
Yeah. To reduce the fraction.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always reduce. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
That's the
That's
message.
our whole motto.
This is sponsored by the Recycling Board, this podcast. So yeah, how many members are there together?
Six.
Six
on a normal day.
on a normal day. That's a relatively larger band.
Yeah.
Was that intentional from the beginning, or was there just more dope people that you just wanted to add more?
Pretty much that. Yeah. We kept kind of expanding what we were doing on the albums, and then we found people to play that live, and we just liked it and stuck with them.
Yeah. So when did you guys meet each other?
We met each other in high school. We were probably
If you're not if you're not watching this right now, there's a dog on me.
She's the host now.
Yeah. So let's see if she has any questions.
Yeah, we met when we were in high school through a band that I was in. They knew Joe, and we all were skateboarders.
Oh, really?
We met through
you
skateboarding.
Still skate?
No, I still bring my board out every now and then and do like a few tricks to just be like, all right. And then I like go in and ice my legs and that's it. So I do it. I just take it out once a year, twice a year, and do a couple tricks and then go back in the house.
I don't have a board
Still
anymore,
got
but I play on Tony Hawk all the time. Still super good.
Yeah.
No, I skateboarded on a tour that we did early in the summer.
Really?
Sam Morgani, whose studio we're
in right now.
He brought a skateboard on tour. He came on tour with us.
Okay.
And I skated quite a bit, and
Wow.
I was super happy that I still had it. I thought I'd lost all of it.
What can you do any like really cool tricks? Like, what's the coolest skateboard trick you can do?
A manual.
That's really cool.
I could still do. I think the coolest thing I could still do is probably a varial flip.
What does that look like? I'll have to Google it later.
It's basically like a kick flip. So the board is doing a 360 sideways, and then it rotates 180 degrees while it's flipping. Is that providing a visual?
Yeah.
Do you have a tech deck?
I'll have to put it on the screen while you're talking about it.
Yeah, it's like it's a 360 one way, and the board rotates from like nose to tail, flips around.
Okay.
So I hope I'm explaining it right. It's cool. It's kind of an in between of like it's like if you can't do a 360 flip, which is the kind of like a standard bearer of like you're at a different level of being a skater.
Yeah.
That's like when you've kind of
You made it.
you've arrived.
Yeah.
You can still do those, can't you?
360 flips?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Every day, all day.
The coolest trick I can do is a switch, no comply, big flip.
That sounds cool.
It is.
You are
Explain it
correct.
visually.
Oh, geez. That one, I don't know how to explain that one.
There's a lot going on that one.
Yeah, your body does a 180. Your board does a 360 flip.
Okay.
I guess that's not that difficult to explain.
No, you're better at that than I am.
Yeah.
Can you picture that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because when you watch like X Games and stuff, I know a little bit about skateboarding from playing Tony Hawk, but that's about as much as I know. So when they like say like, yo, grapefruit 1060, you know what I mean? I'm like, is he making this up on the spot?
It seems made up. I think it's the lingo is really deep.
It is. It goes so deep.
It's like for people who get into it, if I say SSBSTS, that means something to them.
Switch stance, backside, tail slide.
Dang it.
Yeah, it's deep. And I
was trying to unravel the mystery in my own head.
Yeah, but it's something, and Tony Hawk did honestly help with it. When I got into skateboarding, Tony Hawk was my biggest I guess resource for figuring out all the different things that I couldn't do yet.
Yeah. Who did you play on the game? Like, who were you?
Was Rodney Mullen in the first one?
I think he was.
Back in the day, I was a super big Rodney Mullen fan. He's kind of the godfather of, he is the godfather of street skating. He pretty much invented everything, every basic trick and a lot of advanced stuff too that is in street skating. He was the first person to do a riding ollie, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Like he really did it all
like
first.
The stuff? Did he get to name the moves when he made them?
They're all called the Mullen.
This is Mullen
1 through 50.
Yeah. Which one can you do?
Yeah.
I can do 8, 15.
I don't know that any are actually named after him.
I don't think so either.
He was very humble. He's a super soft-spoken guy. He's not someone who's that's kind of part of his allure. I think his legend is that he's such a low-key guy, but he invented all this stuff, and he's not what you'd think of as the prototypical skater. He's not really edgy or punk or anything.
Have you ever met him?
No.
Oh.
I don't know. I've only met a couple skateboarders. I don't even remember who they were.
I got really close to Tony Hawk. That's
our friendship kind of. Our friendship kind of faded. After a little bit.
Yeah,
he had other things to do.
He knew I just wanted the pizza rolls.
So you met in high school, and were you guys playing music at that point, or were you guys?
I was in a band when I met Joe.
What band?
They were called Tragic Hero.
Nice.
Sure. Like you said they. Like you were distancing yourself from
they
it.
Were.
They called it Tragic Hero.
Yes, we were called Tragic Hero.
I was not on board.
Yeah, actually, there's a funny story about Tragic Hero with Joe.
Yeah.
I don't remember how it happened, but we were part of this contest to play at Summerfest or something. Do you remember if that was the...
Yeah, that was what the winner got.
Yeah, so there's a contest of like local music and high school bands, I think specifically. Like show us your music and compete and whatever. And I think we took like 3rd place, and Joe stole the cake. Like really? Joe came and watched and saw us not win and was like, well, I'm going to take this. And then we all ate the cake at my house.
Oh, really? we were winners anyway.
We took the cake.
Yeah.
Not the prize.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Didn't take first, but we took the cake.
I thought they got robbed.
Why did they have a cake?
For the winners, I guess.
I've never seen.
I don't remember, but I remember your mom being surprisingly cool with me doing that. I think she was a little upset you didn't win.
She was like, "There's a cake here," and we were like, "Do you want some?" Yeah, sure.
Yeah, take
I
it.
guess.
Wow.
I think that was when I was like,
"Congrats, losers!
This guy's in."
Yeah,
we're gonna make a band.
Yeah.
So what were you doing in high school?
I was skateboarding and just hanging out. A lot of my friends, there was just a cross section between people who skated and played music. And then when I started hanging around you through our mutual friends and I saw what the band was like, and that really took off for me. I really wanted to be a part of it, but I didn't play anything at the time.
Okay.
But I went to Milwaukee High School of the Arts for creative writing.
Gotcha.
So I had just notebooks of poetry and stuff like that and then eventually I just converted that stuff into lyrics, and I would just give them the lyrics.
Yeah, Joe wrote a few lyrics for songs that Tragic Hero played.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're like
he was sort of like a ghostwriter. He was like, who's Elton John's?
Bernie Taupin.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm the Bernie Taupin of Tragic Hero, a band you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Yes.
That Andy wants to distance himself from. No, but I really wanted to be around
them. They're great guys.
Let's make one thing clear.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with Tragic Hero. It was just a very long time ago.
Yeah. So you were their ghostwriter for some songs.
Yeah. Well, I realized that a lot of people struggled with that part of the writing process.
Yeah.
The words. And I had just so many pages,
so many words,
notebooks of, so many words, the best words. I was a very, I think, angsty teen more than I even realized. And so I had written a lot, and it was cool to have it used. And that was kind of my foot in the door.
Because have you looked back at those now? Like, have you looked back on like what you used to write in high school, like the poetry?
A little bit. I remember what some of them were about, and some of them aren't as cringy as you might think. I remember I wrote one about South Shore Park. It was an ode to a park that's in Bayview that we had spent a lot of time in skateboarding, and just a really beautiful place. And so it wasn't all just like I'm misunderstood. It wasn't like just like Lincoln Park and
right.
It's just the stuff like that was an era.
Yeah, it was
the Hoobastank, the new metal, just kind of cringy, misunderstood.
Yeah,
and that stuff was what was popular when we were in high school. But I don't think that my writing at the time reflected that too much. I'm sure there were some. If I went through all of them now, like maybe the ones you didn't get, the ones that were left on the drawing room floor, maybe there's some super cringy ones, but Yeah, I don't know. I was also really into the Doors at the time, so I bet I was trying to get a little out there conceptually. I wrote one about, it's called Red Walls, and I wrote one about the Iraq War.
Wow, that's heavy.
And
yeah, that was going on too.
Yeah.
I mean, still?
There are wars there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's your new song.
There are wars still.
There are wars still.
Still? Question mark.
It's a ballad.
To be continued.
Yeah. I think. Well, I knew you were listening. You and a lot of my other friends. I wasn't so into punk, but
you were like the only one that wasn't.
I really was. Yeah. We would drive around, and they would always be playing Anti-Flag and different punk.
I don't even think I know
bands.
who Anti-Flag is.
That's okay. They're a very political punk band.
Are they regional? Like, are they from the
They're
Midwest?
from Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard of them.
They were very. They were just kind of the most vocal and just direct anti-Bush. I almost said anti-Trump. It feels the same, honestly. But they were just very, very directly, vocally anti-Bush.
There was no glossiness on it.
Right.
It was directly to the point.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like they would just. I feel like they had merch that was just like fuck Bush or like.
Well, that was like I don't remember who it was, but it was like the "Not My President" shirt. Which
was
famous.
that them?
It might have been that. I don't remember whose merch it was, but that was like that time.
Could have been them.
You know, there was. I think it was called like "Rock Against Bush" or something like that.
That was like a whole compilation.
Yeah, that was back when NoFX put out "War on Errorism" and stuff. There was there's a lot of punk music that was very
American
anti-George
Idiots?
Bush. Yeah.
Now a Broadway musical. I don't know if it's still on Broadway, but
I think
it'll
so.
probably come back even if it's not.
Yeah.
You know, they all come back.
right.
Yeah. So we were all
Hamilton
listening
can
to.
only be there so long. No, that's going to be there forever.
Yeah.
We were all listening to like more punk music, and Joe was like, "But what about like Modest Mouse and Built to Spill?"
What
And we were
about sad
we were
indie
like,
music?
Get out of here! And
Come
then,
on,
like,
guys.
And then we
I
all
just-
slowly came to it. Like, he's right.
Well, I remember making you mix CDs, just trying to like kind
That's
of.
nice.
He was courting me musically.
Yeah.
It was working.
Yeah, and the band we ended up in a band together that was also a punk band. It was called Candlelit Murder.
Wow.
They were called Candlelit Murder. They came up with the name. Actually, a friend came up with it, and that was the name of the band before I was in it.
Okay.
And as soon as I joined, I kind of wanted to change the name, but I didn't want to ruffle feathers too quickly.
Yeah.
But I was definitely trying to steer us away from the heavier punk music that they were writing.
Yeah.
And
It didn't work.
it didn't work for a long time.
Didn't work.
It didn't work for the duration of that band. I kind of tried to do a spin-off band with Andy where we would just do acoustic stuff.
Okay.
It was called Lucky Squares.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And definitely a different vibe than Candlelit Murder.
Murder is intense.
It is very intense.
What was the music like for Candlelit Murder? Was it like punk sort of stuff?
It wasn't super aggressive, but it was more rock.
Yeah.
Punk. It was faster and.
So, were there any band members from these bands that are in your band currently, or is it all different?
No,
like in Paper Holland right now?
Not in the current band.
Our bassist, Robbie, is the bassist of Nasty Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Our drummer in Candlelit Murder
think
isn't.
Bob
I don't
plays
think he's playing music
currently.
anymore.
He retired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going out on top.
He's chilling.
So you try to do a side project together. Yeah.
It was kind of just me.
It was like Joe
Really
like,
trying to get you
let's
to play
side
together?
project.
Yeah. And I don't know that we ever. I think we played one show as Lucky Squares.
Okay.
Did we?
Yeah, it was an outdoor show at where was that? I feel like it was outside of Milwaukee.
How long ago?
This would have been this is in high school, so it's I would say 2003 or 4.
Okay.
Probably maybe a
Pre-high
little bit
school
later
this
than
was.
that.
No,
Oh, sorry,
this was-
pre-graduation.
Oh, I was like, whoa, this
Yeah.
is really far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't take off the way that I wanted it to. Trio, make a decision.
You could do it.
She's old. She's trying.
I believe in you. Do you
We
help?
need like a step stool for her.
Oh, thank you so much.
There we go.
So give me a mic.
Yes, so that would have been around like 2002, 3, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then after that,
so you don't remember playing the show, but it happened.
You blocked it out.
No, yeah.
They played the show.
I don't remember most of the shows. I mean, they were just a very long time ago.
Yeah,
but I remember it was fun.
But that's a lot of bands to go through to get to this point. Even that, were there more after that?
You've been in a lot.
I've been a
few more in between than I had. But
okay.
For a while, Andy wasn't playing music, and
really,
no, I
a little while, not a terribly long time.
It was a bit. I was in 3 bands at once.
Oh, geez.
And I sort of burned myself out. And then
in high school, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
We would practice back to back in his basement.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It's like a job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not super different now, but
yeah.
But yeah,
but the perspective is different now, I'm sure.
Yeah. It was a lot, and yeah, it was nice to take a break.
So what 3 bands were you in at the same time?
Tragic Hero.
Yep.
Candlelit Murder and Fly By Night.
And don't forget about the trio or the duo.
Oh, I'm sorry. That would be 4.
3.5.
I have no recollection of it.
And the drummer from Fly By Night is the other nasty boy, Joe Plumeri.
Oh, wow. I mean, so have you guys met a lot of people then doing music here that, like, what do you feel about the music scene here in Milwaukee specifically, since you guys have been in it for a while?
It's changed a ton.
Yeah, I think it's cooler right now than it's ever been. It's more collaborative. It's just deep.
Yeah.
There's so much talent here and people doing it on a level that it just didn't feel like was being done for a long time. I think that the passion and institutions like Radio Milwaukee who are bringing that more to the forefront, it's just, it is a very different scene than even 5 years ago, but especially 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It feels a lot more connected, and I think the internet helps with that. But
for sure,
I think there's a lot more of an identity to Milwaukee music now.
Right.
And that keeps evolving, and that looks a little different every year. But yeah, this is a really good time to be a musician in Milwaukee.
Because how old is Paper Holland as like a band? When did you guys start?
There are 2 schools of thought. Well, we started playing music together for Paper Holland in 2008.
Okay. Wow, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just primarily just like hanging out occasionally, working on like a song. It wasn't like we're a band, we're gonna play shows.
That was me trying to woo you back into music by writing more of it myself instead of because I did, even when we were in a band before that, I didn't play guitar. I wasn't writing the songs on any instrument. So I sensed that to kind of get the sound that I wanted and to get Andy involved, that I would just have to do a little bit more legwork from the start. So I just started writing songs, and then I would put them on MySpace and tell Andy to listen to them. Yeah, and then he would come over to our friend's house who had a laptop with GarageBand on it. That's where I was doing all of that.
Yeah,
and he would add parts to it, and then I think we would like re-upload it to MySpace or something like that. But
nice.
Yeah. So I think that
a lot of
versioning. Yeah. So yeah, that was So 2008 was the beginning of it as far as
the concept of it.
Yeah,
like
laying
a
the foundation.
New project.
So how long did you take a break before you decided to come back, before all his wooing worked?
The wooing worked pretty quickly. I was very
was it like years that you were like, I'm done?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I still played guitar, but I wasn't in any bands.
Yeah.
So I would just play guitar at home and
that's it.
hang out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Skateboard, play video games, hang out with my now wife.
What made you want to come back and play in a band again?
Really, the song that he showed me on MySpace. Well, I there was maybe a couple others in between there, but none of them were like really that serious.
Songs or bands?
Bands.
I was going to say the songs were serious.
The songs were incredibly serious. No, there were. I played with a few other bands, but none of them were really like my project, or that I really felt like necessarily a key player in.
Yeah.
I tried to get into those too. I tried to get into one of them.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of auditioned to be the singer.
Oh wow!
And
didn't get in.
Well, so
at that point, it was like the band sort of just.
It was kind of on the outs anyway, but you had a singer who was just super lazy. I don't know. He just didn't. He wasn't involved. He
was sitting down while he was singing.
He would only
a great showman.
It was just like one of those like we're ready to try to go to like another level and
he just wasn't
there for that. So.
Yeah. So it took a long time I was always kind of trying to position myself to just to kind of get to
be around
to where we
for
are.
Playing music.
Yeah.
But then Joe recorded what would eventually become the last song on her first album and sent it to me, just kind of like, check this out. And I heard it and I said like, I'm going to be part of whatever this is.
Yeah.
It's coming out of retirement.
Yeah.
It's like Jordan.
Yeah.
I'm going to wear 45 for the first year.
Yeah. See what happens. Yeah. So did you learn how to play an instrument then in that time, since you primarily were writing songs at the beginning?
Yeah, I think I don't know how, but I'd gone on tour with a couple. I'd gone on tour a few times with some friends' bands, and I just honestly watched enough guitar where I felt like after kind of the third time I went on tour with them, which was a very my friend's band. It was a very long tour, and we went to Florida and back, and it was about a month. And I kind of spent every night watching my friend play guitar, and I just picked up on all the shapes he was doing and just kind of progressions, and eventually it just kind of clicked to me, and then I imitated that as much as I could when I got home. And it was still very rudimentary. I think the first song I sent you was like 2 chords.
Yeah. But it was good nonetheless.
Yeah. I mean, there was no filtering process. It was just like, I thought those 2 chords sounded good together. I recorded some layers over that, did the vocals and lyrics, and all of it was in one night, and then I sent it to him, and I was just ready to go.
Wow.
I felt like I'd like kind of gone through the training process. I just like kind of absorbed enough, and through the osmosis of that, it was just like, all right, let's do this.
So how did the rest of the band get formed after you guys were together?
That's sort of where the second school of thought of how long we've been a band
Good segue.
really comes into play, because like I said, we were just like casually writing songs every now and then. Joe had an idea, I'd come add guitar, but then our friends started a recording studio, and they said, we'll record an album for you for free if you have an album to record. So we were like, we're like,
yes, of course we do.
Yeah,
even
for
if
free.
You didn't,
let's write some filler.
We were like, let's figure out like how to do this. Let's finish a full album and go record it and see what that's like. And that's what turned into Happy Belated.
Okay.
And I would say that's really, and that took a long time, because we still weren't like, we're gonna be a band that plays shows, and we're gonna we weren't like chasing any ambition or chasing any goals. So once we realized that we wanted to have an album release, and it had just been us 2, that's when like the band formed. We realized, we need a bassist, we need a drummer.
How'd you guys find all those people?
The drummer was our friend Brian, who recorded the album, is now the drummer in my other band, Flat Teeth. Mm-hmm. And the bassist was Mark, who's our current bassist.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's been with us since our first show. But he's not on the first album, but yeah, he's been there the whole time. And we know Mark through my wife. They went to school together.
Okay. So what was that first process of recording an album like? Because was that new to both of you, being in a recording studio and recording a full length?
Definitely.
Did you have everything prepared before?
We recorded some stuff in a basement, like in a guy's basement for Candlelit Murder, and I don't think that ever actually got like finished. So we had gone through like, bring your amps and your drums and set up mics, and like, I'm gonna hit record, and then do it as well as you can. And, But that stuff, I don't think it ever got finished. I don't think it ever.
It was to tape.
Yeah, so we never
it was
even
expensive.
Oh, really?
We were in high school. We just didn't have any money.
Yeah.
So it was kind of it was.
So we had gone through the process a little.
Although I don't think I did anything for that. I don't think I ever did vocals
singing?
for that.
Yeah. So we had gotten some experience in that, but As far as, seeing a project from start to finish, the Happy Belated was the first one.
Yeah.
I think.
Was it difficult, or like what were some of the challenges of like the first thing that you recorded?
Honestly, I struggled with giving up control of it immediately because I had gotten so used to, I only knew at that point recording it myself.
Yeah.
With Andy's help, of course. But I had already kind of developed this sound and these methods that I liked. And like I wasn't doing stuff to a click track. And I was just dousing everything in reverb. And
being asked multiple times.
Right. I really liked the lo-fi sound, and I had a different vision in mind of what I wanted this album to be.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we started working with other people, I realized that other people just have their own ideas of how things should go. And because our friends were recording us for free, I felt like they had a little bit of leverage.
Sure.
And they also wanted to use the album that we were recording as sort of a demo, like as part of their sort of studio portfolio. Yeah. Exactly. Right. So they wanted it to be very polished.
Yeah.
And they just both happened to be sort of into a little bit. Just their musical taste is just a bit different than mine. It's not crazy different, but what they kind of wanted to push the album to was just not where I wanted to go with it. And I struggled with that, but I went through the whole process and we went through the whole process. And then when it was finished, I just was not happy with it. And I think that they're good. They're good songs and they are good recordings, but I've just always struggled with hearing what I wanted to do differently with
Still
it.
Now?
And I honestly, I don't listen to it. I kind of can't. And
do you listen to it? Or are you okay with it? Or
I don't really listen to any of it just because we spent so much time living with those songs before they became like, that's sort of a fun thing with being a musician, is that by the time other people hear them, you're already like, I gotta start something new.
Right.
Like we've already you already go through like every version of the song and then figuring out how to play it with other people, then recording it, then mixing it, then mastering it, then, the production, and then rehearsing it. So by the time you're like playing these songs, you're kind of already like several months, if not longer, into
maybe years. Yeah. New songs are not new.
Exactly.
Almost any of the time.
Yeah.
Because of that, exactly. The just how long that process is to go from writing to recording to releasing. By the time, I would say by the time that you have a release show and you're introducing all these new songs to people, you're probably already have a lot of new material and maybe already don't feel like where you did when you were writing those songs. So you just, as an artist, I think as a musician at least, you're always a little bit behind your own cycle. You're always a little bit behind your release cycle because it all just takes so long.
Right. Have you ever thought about going back and being like, let's re-record that album the way we want to do it?
We have thought about that. I think that's something that we will do someday.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy because we thought about doing it. It was already the 10-year anniversary of it, like last year or something.
No, it was 2013 is when it came out.
But not when we recorded it.
Oh, yeah. Well, so.
Okay, you're right. All right.
2023.
You were buying ourselves more time.
Yeah.
That is a school of thought.
Yeah.
I would like to do that, but definitely not next.
Right.
I really want to continue to move forward with what we've been doing. So that's something that I would like to revisit, I think, but it doesn't quite feel like the right time for it now. But I think there will be a time.
Because how many songs are on that album?
It's 10.
10. Yeah.
10 and 10. 10 songs, 10 years.
Oh, like it.
Maybe it needs to be 10, 10, 20. I bet that's going to be a very popular release date next year.
Yeah.
And wedding date.
Yeah.
Isn't that a number in the 90s that you would use to, like if you, that was like a collect call number, wasn't it? Or no, it was 10, 10, 220.
What would happen when you called it?
The person would get charged. Like if you were at a payphone, whoever answered.
Solid prank.
I think they'd have to.
You owe money now.
You better not answer your phone, idiot.
There's no caller ID, by the way.
Yeah.
Way to have a landline.
There were all kinds of those, though. Like if you didn't have a quarter or whatever it was for the payphone, you could type in one of those numbers,
that makes sense.
And the person would have to like accept the
charges.
That was like what a collect call was.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
I feel super old.
I feel like
somehow older than both of you, and I feel like we all lived through this.
Almost, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Payphones don't exist anymore.
No.
Yeah, they're more like art pieces at this point, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
They're not.
And movie props.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
Matrix movie props.
Exactly.
What would they do now? Would it just be all cell phone? How would
Matrix?
Yeah,
we're gonna find out.
It was a big deal in the. Oh yeah.
Is there a new one?
Yeah, Matrix 4 is gonna happen.
Wow.
But I've never seen the second or third ones. So
I haven't seen any of them.
Really?
The first one's very
You've never
good.
seen the original Matrix?
No.
How did you manage to withstand that like cultural phenomenon?
I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen a lot of movies that I should.
I'm kind of like that too, but
yeah.
What's another really big movie that you think people will be shocked you haven't seen?
I'm trying to think back.
I just saw Titanic.
I don't think I've seen it.
Did it get spoiled for you?
I don't think I've seen the whole thing.
What happened?
No?
Yeah.
It's long.
I remember it came in 2 VHS tapes.
Yep.
Part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, there's some super dramatic end to like cassette or whatever, tape 1.
Yeah. Yeah, because my friend's parents had the Titanic, and it was like a box, you know, with 2 tapes in it.
Right.
That's insane.
A Titanic.
I'm not going to sit through
double
VHS.
album.
Yeah. That was James Cameron's White Album phase. That was his.
But I feel like Pulp
Like old
Fiction.
video games too.
I haven't seen that. That's a
What did you say?
Pulp Fiction's a
I
good
haven't
one.
seen it.
It's good. I don't know. I feel like that one. I don't know. It's definitely a good movie, but I don't know that I would say you're outside of like the. I don't know. I was a little too young to know how big of a cultural phenomenon that is. But I know that's a movie that gets referenced a lot in pop culture, and just seems like it's kind of coming back more. I see more like Mia Wallace and John Travolta costumes every year. And
Yeah. But there's like, if you look at like the top 100, they like rank them, you know, like the best movies.
Yeah.
There's like a bunch of them I haven't seen. So I think I need to get on that.
I took whatever I know what list you're talking about. It's like, it's not Turner Classic Movies. There's some kind of biggest essential list, and I can't remember who put it out.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's some
like
acronym that's
IMDb,
like. or something. The American Film Institute.
Maybe. Yeah.
AFI, the band.
America's Funniest
The punk rock band.
Wrong one.
And a long time ago, I got as many of those movies as I could from the library, and I watched a bunch of them that I hadn't seen. But like Casablanca and Gone with the Wind, and a lot of the really. You haven't seen either of those?
I've seen Casablanca.
Okay,
but not Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind is also super long.
What is the premise of Gone with the Wind?
It's an antebellum
South.
Just
like a movie review podcast at this
point. Honestly, I don't remember it super well. It's either
to me visually.
Right after it goes through the Civil War. It's in the South. I think it just kind of deals with what it was like for people in the South who weren't directly involved with the war.
Civil War?
The Civil War.
Yeah.
How that kind of affected them, which seems like a perspective that.
It's an odd
we really shouldn't care
movie.
about poor antebellum South. Sorry to insult anyone from the South, but that's my recollection of it. Clark Gable's in it. I don't really remember what his character even was. I'm not an authority to speak on this. I'm gonna punt
defer
on
to IMDb.
Yeah. You guys can go look up the synopsis.
Yeah.
And decide if you want to watch it yourself.
I don't think I've ever seen it either.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Movie night with Paper Holland.
Where I butcher the synopsis of
I'm going to tell you what
of
this
your favorite
about.
films.
I feel like that could be a podcast. Just guessing what a story is. I saw this when I was 7. I'm going to tell you what it's about.
That's we never saw. Because we never met. We never saw. We never saw this.
Yeah. And then we'll watch it afterwards.
Just a 5-minute podcast about like, I think it's this.
I think so. I was talking about Homeward Bound, speaking of dogs, the other day. Have you guys seen that one?
Yes.
That's a classic.
Yeah, I think that was one of the few movies. We didn't own a lot of movies when I was growing up. We didn't have cable. My mom was very we didn't have a lot of money. My mom was also very
like get outside and don't go.
Exactly. Yeah. Get out there and find those dogs.
No video games. No.
Yeah. So, but there would be certain movies that she deemed more appropriate. I think Homeward Bound was definitely wholesome enough for her. Yeah. So I watched that movie so much.
That's a tearjerker.
Definitely.
That dog gets stuck in the mud.
Michael J. Fox is
Michael J. Fox
is
in. Yeah. It's a classic. But yeah, so I had a similar childhood where it was like I had a card where I could only play video games for an hour, and my mom would punch the card when I did it, and so I could only use it once a day.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
this was a system like just with her? This was like something that she came up with?
It was like a library card. She had it like laminated.
Wow.
Yeah. And so she's like, I had to bring it to her and she would punch it or whatever. I'd go play for an hour and then that's all I had.
That's some parenting right there.
Yeah. It worked. I mean, that's honor system though. Cause I'm like,
that is
you gonna check on me after an hour.
Yeah.
I'm going to punch in at 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
Hope you have a nice day at work in the morning.
Yeah, it'll be great.
What would you play? What did you play during that time? What was like what you played very controlled by her too?
We couldn't play like Mortal Kombat and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like those games.
Nothing with the gratuitous violence, the M for mature.
Yeah. So I played mostly like Mario and stuff. We had a classic like Nintendo, like the box ones. The gray ones.
NES.
Yeah. So a lot of Mario and stuff like that.
I think parents can get down with Mario.
Yeah, it's a good game.
My mom, for the longest time, was just super resistant to us getting a video game system, and I love video games. I would, my babysitter had a Super Nintendo, and it made her job so easy because I was just glued to Super Mario World. All I ever wanted to do was play Super Mario World, and so for the longest time, I wanted a Super Nintendo, and my mom just wasn't about it. And then Sonic the Hedgehog came out.
Oh yeah, I had that
and
too.
And for whatever reason, my mom deemed that Sonic was like appropriate, was safe.
Yeah.
I think
Sonic just fought like robots, right? He wasn't like punching blood out of people.
Right. It definitely was not Mortal Kombat. There weren't like fatalities.
I played Rampage. Did you play Rampage as growing up?
With like
you eat people out of buildings. In that game.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That was pretty crazy.
The first one I played was Contra. My dad was, I found out later in life that my dad was very into video games.
Oh, wow.
And my mom was like, you need to sell that video game system.
She's like, he's going over the punch card.
How many punches you have?
I'm tearing up the card. So we got Super Nintendo, and my dad was like, let's play some Contra.
Yeah, because I mean, like, it was good later in life knowing how I am. Because once I got into video games, it was like, I'm glad I didn't get to play when I was younger because I would have done nothing.
Yeah.
Similar to that. I would have sat around all day.
Right.
Yeah.
I still do that.
If
I don't have like anything I need to do, I can still do that. I'm actually doing that right now.
You're playing a video game right now?
In my head. Matrix style.
I'm also what are you playing right now?
I'm playing Zelda Link to the Past.
Oh, nice. Old school.
On what system?
The SNES Classic, the small one that has like preloaded games on it.
Oh,
I'd
cool.
never played it before, and I just got this, and I was like, now's the time.
Because I got into World of Warcraft in like high school, and man, I did nothing.
Yeah, I don't think that's one. I've never heard of someone casually playing that game.
You can't.
I think
you either
just
play
get totally
so hard, or you do not play it.
You play it so hard. I had to like literally. I'm like, I can't even download this anymore because I will lose my life.
It's just an addiction.
I've never touched it, and one of my friends was like, they just like re-released it or something recently.
Yeah, they released the original.
Yeah, and he was like, "It's coming out. I'm gonna
Just
check my old character." And he was like, "I have played it for over a full year." And I was like, "Oh no,
I haven't seen daylight in weeks."
Yeah.
Were you sinking money into it too? Because there's a lot that you can buy in game for that, right? Or
now with that game, you sink in money because originally
you have to take off work
because you're losing money in the real world.
But you have to pay to play online. So like every month you have to pay a certain amount to keep playing.
Okay.
So that's how they get you.
Right.
Yeah. It's like $30 a month to play. Okay. Essentially.
That's a lot.
It is. Yeah.
It's steep.
It is. It's a lot of money.
Preying on addiction.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah. They really get you. And I'm like, the original came out. I'm like, that looks so cool, but I can't go back there. I can't go there. I'll do nothing.
I've come too far to go back to that.
I can't look back.
I feel like winter in Wisconsin is kind of good for that, though.
Yeah,
you feel like you're kind of just you're indoors more and hermiting more, and like that's the kind of the season where you feel less guilty about
some escape.
That
yeah.
You don't have to look outside and see that it's dark at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And that it's going to snow for the next 9 days.
Yeah. Because it's already been dark with your tunnel vision looking at the screen for 4 hours. Yeah. But let's go back to the band.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I want to talk about your most recent album that you released, Galapagos. Mm-hmm. And you also released another one, which I didn't know about until I was doing research. The flip side, Galapagos.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
Thank you.
So my first question with that is like, how did you get all those people to like cover your songs? Like, how did you get that roster's pretty deep on that
Very happy
amazing.
with the people who.
And it's like eclectic too. It's not like one specific genre. You didn't get just people that played music similar to you. You got everyone.
Yeah,
right. It was like just across the board artists that we like, regardless of genre, and the more different than us, the better. I think, and it was incredible to see what they did with all those songs. I actually just listened to it yesterday. I listen to it often, and I don't have as much guilt about it as if I was listening to our album. Yeah, which I do. I like Galapagos a lot, but hearing what people did with Galapagos, it's incredible. It feels like such a cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah. How did you facilitate that? Like, how did you even get that going?
It was a lot of emailing and DMing, and some of them were just talking in person, because a lot of the people that we asked to do it were people that we've known for a very long time. I think only like very few people that we asked we maybe haven't played a show with, but like we asked Kellen to do it, Classic to do it, and I mean we've known Kellen since we put out Happy Belated.
He was part of the Galapagos release show too.
And he was part of the Galapagos release show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean a lot of people were people that we've known or met, and we've just, we see, I think we're fairly in tune with like who's playing around Milwaukee, and so we knew a large group of people that we'd be interested in asking. And
you're also very personable people. I feel like it's hard to say no. It's not. It would be like,
shut up. No,
I hate you. Yeah. This is the worst.
I'm walking out.
we had a few of those. Yeah. No, it started with Nickel and Rose. They did a few of our songs for
local
coverage.
Oh yeah, that was
put on by
that was
Milwaukee
cool
Record.
Yeah.
You were there?
No, I just saw the videos afterwards. Of
we put up some. I think each of the songs that they did of ours, which were just incredible. It was, I was honestly in tears watching what they did with our music, and it was, they did so good. They just have such, their music just has so much heart. It's just, and it was so cool to see what they did with that. And I think we wanted to see what people would do with the other like 9 songs on that album.
What was your favorite one off that? Like if you had to pick one.
I think Karen's version of Think.
Okay.
Because I was familiar with Karen's, but I didn't know what John would do with it, and it came back just so lush and layered and like almost hypnotic to listen to, and just stripped away a lot of like, I think a lot of people did a similar thing where like we have these songs that usually have some personal meaning and are maybe like not as happy as the song would sound or lead you to believe. And a lot of people kind of stripped away that facade of like pop music and kind of like made the lyrics a little more naked or maybe wrote something a little more like serious around it. And having that done for Think, especially, which is like a very bouncy, light song, was, I don't know. I just love the version. I can listen to it over and over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my answer too. What Karen's did with that song, it's not that different than the original, but it did kind of gave it that minor turn, that dark, like it felt like he tapped into kind of the subject matter and why I wrote those lyrics in the first place more than our version of it did. And I remember when he sent that to us, I was in Austin with Abby Jean. We lived in LA earlier in the year, and that was where I got a lot of these songs and heard them for the first time. And when I heard Think, I just listened to it on loop over and over again. It was really hypnotic, and it was really cool to see someone twist it a little bit, but also kind of bring out more of the true meaning of it from me from the beginning. I'm trying so hard not to get distracted by her.
She's hiding a treat.
Yeah.
Sorry.
With her face.
Yeah.
Oh, she does that?
That's all she's got. Just pushing treats. And another one that I really, really, really liked was Josh Evert's. And
we have the same answers. I was going to say that one too.
Yeah, just because Josh engineered and mixed Galapagos, so he knew all the songs very intimately, and for him to make the version that he made, and that was the first one we got. He was like, we were assuming like, we'll ask him if he wants to do one. He'll say, no, I've already heard these songs enough. And but he chose one and he had it done. He was the first one to have it done.
Oh,
and
wow.
we're like, that was awesome. I thought he was going to be like, need a break from the songs before I go back and start doing something. He just had this idea and he was like, he sent it so fast.
So did you guys just let him have the songs and not hear it until they sent it back to you?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. So you had no contact with it until the final.
We tried to be pretty hands off and just say like, do what you want to do. Another one that was like a really fun surprise was Vincent Van Great's, because he chose an instrumental song. So we knew it had to be different.
Yeah.
Because he's a vocalist.
Yeah, exactly.
So unless he was just gonna, do
he literally
acapella.
gave you back the same song.
Yeah. Here you go.
Yeah.
This is my version.
Yeah.
So his was great too.
Van Great.
It was Van Great.
But yeah, he wrote lyrics for it and vocals. So he I don't want to say other people didn't do work for theirs. They definitely did. But like his was definitely the biggest surprise because he wasn't working from any framework as far as vocals and lyrics. So, but he tied it in. It was thematically, it
made sense.
Really fit
the album feel.
Yeah, it's really cool to just see something like how creatively someone can do it differently. Like they can take the same song and the same lyrics and it can be so different.
Right. And Vincent heard something in there that I never heard or none of us heard. We didn't do that. And we knew we wanted it to be an instrumental break on the album, but we would have never thought to do what he did with it. And that was super cool.
People are crazy. It's just like, it's nuts what people can think of.
Yeah. We kept, every time we got one in, it was just like, oh, fuck. This is so good. And also like, why is it so good? Why is it so much? Like I kept, every time we got one in, I was like, it's so much better than what we did. And like, it's not, but like, I just,
oh my God.
It was really cool seeing how everyone put their own spin on it. And I think if artists are given kind of a framework, certain parameters to work within, I think a certain amount of contained creativity really helps artists thrive. Like have a project, have a deadline, and a little bit of guideline.
It has to be about this, but whatever,
Right? Yeah. That's why I think local coverage is so cool, and I think it's just I know as an artist, it really helps to have something to go off of and to have a deadline for it to be done. And I think that brings out a lot of the best of some artists to not have a long time to overthink it and to kind of be given something to work with from the beginning.
Go with your instinct.
Yeah. And see what happens.
I mean, that's what sort of makes you the artist you are is following those things.
Yeah. So do you guys have new music coming out like in 2020? Is there new stuff coming out?
We hope so.
We'll see.
Yeah. It's tough. We have a lot in
the hopper.
The hopper. I was gonna say coffer. I don't know if in the coffers is that. I don't know what that is.
You can make it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot in the coffee.
All words are made up, so just go for it. Yeah.
It's true. You're right.
Yeah.
We would definitely like to. That's something that we've been working towards, and I think that's kind of when we should be releasing new music.
Yeah.
Because we released Galapagos in
2018.
June of 2018, and so we had the whole year after that, just playing that and promoting that.
Yeah.
And then we did Galapagos to kind of
bring
a little bit more out of that.
Yeah.
And then now it's kind of it's definitely what's next mode, and I think just kind of the way the cycles go in Milwaukee, you don't want to be going too long. I think you have to balance it between making sure you're working at a speed that isn't forcing things out, but also there is something you have to be relevant. You have to stay relevant, and
it's like a balance between staying on top of people's minds, but doing what's natural, like not forcing music to come out.
Exactly. And we kind of went through that conversation recently as a band where we felt we were trying to get on the same page about that time frame.
Yeah.
And I think we ultimately decided that it would be best not to necessarily put a hard deadline on it, or just like kind of let the next batch of songs come when they do. And But I don't want it to be too much longer. Definitely not a year from now. I would like to have something out before that. I actually had a dream the other night about finishing an album.
Oh, really?
And it felt super good.
It always does.
I didn't get to hear what any of them sounded like in the dream, so that would have been nice. I could have had a little, would have been like poaching taste. My own music.
Just wake up with a voice memo.
But it's sometimes when you're in the early stages of it, it seems like it'll never happen. It's such a mountain to climb, I think. And I'm trying to put less pressure on myself. We're all trying to put less pressure on ourselves to push it out quickly and to have it be anything.
Right.
Because Galapagos was such a kind of a strong vibe and aesthetic overall. Right. It kind of a concept album. It was hard to sort of know when to break away from that or how to break away from that. Do we continue on the tropical thing, which has worked for us and been a lot of fun, or do we flip it, or do we just write
how
music?
do you do that? Like, how do you do that? Transition from like an album that's so heavily sort of themed in one specific. How do you get away from, or do you want to get away from that? Like, what is the mindset after doing something like that?
I think, I don't think we want to, completely change who we are as a band, but we've seen a lot of people doing similar things that what we did, and I think it'd be nice to just continue to evolve and grow and not do the same thing.
Yeah. It's a good challenge, and I think before we were wearing the tropical shirts and just kind of had that overall aesthetic.
The flamingo.
All that stuff has been really fun. Like I really do love all that stuff, and that's why we chose to do an album called Galapagos, because there was all of that fun palm tree, flamingo, all that, the shirts, all that aesthetic that came along with that. And especially in a place like Wisconsin, getting that kind of escapism. We played with our friend Andreas. He's filled in on drums.
I had him on the podcast
before. You've had Andreas?
I just listened to it.
Okay. Yeah, he's an amazing musician on his own, like multi-talented instrumentalist. And he said we're the foundation of Milwaukee bands. Not like the framework, but like the bar foundation. I know,
I know what you mean.
Like the tiki drinks.
It's an awesome bar.
It's just you go in there in the winter, and shout out to Foundation for sure. And that's, I really like that. That's been the niche that we've had for the past year. Honestly, I don't think we have a roadmap for how to go from there, for how to break away from it, or how much to break away from it. I think I've maybe even been overthinking how to do that, trying to like create an album title or a concept before moving forward. And recently I've been trying to just let us just write songs and then let that become something instead of starting from the beginning with a title and kind of forcing things into that framework.
It's almost like a cycle that you put yourself in, because it's like the public, you view their persona as like, oh, if we go away from this, will they like it? And then you're like, oh, maybe we should do this probably, right? And then oh, they won't like it, and then
that's definitely a battle, and I think everyone does that. Part of why we do this, and I mean, we obviously are doing a lot of it publicly, and people are a part of it, definitely. And it's awesome that people care about what we're doing at all. Right. And I think there's a little bit of responsibility that comes with that. But I think that's really a tricky thing as an artist, how much to kind of play into expectations. Right. You want to subvert expectations. Will people be kind of jarred by a dramatic change? But I really think that if we just continue to do something natural for us, I hope people would still be on board with that. If it's not like a very like obvious kind of pandering switch to something else, I think if we just continue organically, I think we'll be okay. Because
it's like at the end of the day, you guys are making the music. So if you don't like it or like producing it, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to be fun.
You have to just make sure that you're playing music that you want to be playing and music that you're proud of.
Yeah, you're going to be playing it a lot. And people are going to know if it's disingenuous. I think
if you hate it, you're just not going to play it.
Right.
You're just going to be miserable.
Yeah.
So it has to be things that you're proud of and that you want to do, and it can't just be fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the those like one hit wonder bands that go up and they're just like pissed off that they still got to play that one song.
Yeah.
Right.
At the end, they're like, oh, and you can tell they hate it. You
Right.
know? There's no enthusiasm for playing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of hate and love that problem. I think in a way that's a good problem to have. Like,
I know. Yeah.
We have
song made you millions of dollars,
hit, but it's
yeah, a timeless hit. Who's your favorite like one hit wonder band? Who would you say?
I imagine it's probably someone from the 90s.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, the 90s was like a big time for the single. And let me think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Do you have one off the top of your head?
I'm going to say Eagle Eye Cherry.
Oh, that's a good one.
Is that Save Tonight?
Yeah.
That one's super good.
I like that
Who
song.
sings Closing Time? Semisonic?
Yep.
Semisonic, yeah.
That's a really good one.
I like
I
that
worked at a bar that played that every night at closing time.
they
So
did.
that one's not
Everyone
right.
did,
Right.
yeah.
I think a lot of them
In
do,
your
so-
face, patrons.
Yeah.
It's time to close.
I-
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Let me see. It's definitely something in that era. I
You know
think.
what the song I just thought of based on this? The song New Shoes by Pablo Nutini. You know the song? It's like, hey, I put my new shoes on and suddenly
Yeah, I know that
everything-
song.
That song was a hit. And then he
I know
just
that one.
left. He was
Yeah.
gone.
He just left.
It
Took his
happens.
new shoes
It
and
happens.
walked
Mambo
away.
number 5. I'm still
Great
waiting
song.
on
Lou
number
Bega.
6.
On Lou Bega. Yeah. What's
Yeah,
his name? Lou
Lou
Bega?
Bega.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could call maybe Mark Morrison Return of the Mac. I love that song.
Oh.
It's one of my go-to karaoke songs, and I'm pretty sure that you could safely call him a one-hit wonder. I don't think he really put out anything else super popular. And All My Life by Casey and JoJo. I don't think a lot of people know any other song by them. So those are two just kind of off the top of my head that
Eiffel 65.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
it blew. That I loved that song.
That was a great song.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure. They're not even from America, I don't think, right? I feel like they were like German house or some music or something.
From Eiffel, I guess I would assume French, but I
that's
don't
true.
know.
And they came out around when Daft Punk was
If
very,
it
very
was Daft
popular
Punk, that would
in
be
that time.
so cool.
If they were
it
also
eventually turned
Eiffel
out that,
65.
yeah. But that says so much about the one hit wonder, like maybe just our age at that time too, and maybe where the internet was, but that we don't know anything about them, but like
we just know the
that
song.
Yeah.
If that song comes on,
Yeah.
I'm singing.
That's not the worst thing though, because I imagine they've made a lot of money off that, and they get
recognition,
to live
yeah.
a pretty normal life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they've probably been pretty taken care of off that one song, but they don't have to live that public eye like celebrity life.
They're on a Now CD, now like 65 or whatever they're up to.
I have a lot of those.
collection.
They still
Someone
make them.
gifted
They
it
do?
to me
Yeah.
years later.
Yeah.
I think
Like a white elephant. White elephant? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was just I was at a house party and someone had the collection and I was like, oh my God, I wanted every single one of these. Like I remember when they were running, when there were only one or two of them when that first came out. And that was never, my mom was never going to bite for anything on like an infomercial like that. We just didn't have that kind of money. But when they had this whole collection, I was just like, holy shit. and later on they went away to college and they gifted it to me before they left. It was like years after that party. So that was super cool.
Yeah. How many do you have?
It's in the 30s. So it's not, it's
They're
not
high
an
up now.
exhaustive
They're real
collection.
high up.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot more than I thought.
Do you listen to them still or are they just sitting there?
I listened to Now Too.
Oh, okay.
I think that one's got my favorites on there, and it has the Sunscreen song by Baz Luhrmann.
I don't even think I know that one.
Baz Luhrmann's a director. He directed Romeo plus Juliet and definitely some other stuff. Moulin Rouge, I think.
Oh.
And but he has this song. It's the last song on Now Too. And it's like I don't know if it's a graduation speech that he actually gave or if it's just kind of like a mock graduation speech, but it's just all this life advice.
Wow.
And
is that like spoken word?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's just like this beat behind it. And it's really cool. And I like weep every time I listen to it. Like I try not to listen to it, but like every time I revisit it, it just, I don't know. It's,
I'll have to go check it out.
it hits hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, his only solid advice within it is like wear sunscreen. That's kind of the thing. But he offers
stuff.
all this other advice.
Yeah.
But there's just awesome stuff in there. Like
wow.
It's like throw away your old bank statements, keep your old love letters. Just like a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
That just
wow.
Yeah.
There you go. there's a recommendation for listening later if you need it. Well, thanks for coming on. What's Paper Holland's like? Do you guys have a website?
We do. paperholland.com.
Nice.
Yeah.
We fought real hard for that.
Did you?
Yeah. No.
No, luckily there are no other Paper Hollands. So,
a paper company simple. Called Holland or something.
There's a Holland paper.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are they just the white sheets that you get, like the printer paper?
I don't know.
It's like a Dunder Mifflin thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Competing companies.
Yeah.
And then your social media is just Paper Holland as well, right?
Yeah, everything is just at Paper Holland, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Awesome.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah.
All that?
That's
all
awesome.
that.
Get ready for some new music at some point.
Yeah.
Someday.
Yeah.
Someday is coming.
Yeah.
And you'll know when you hear it.
Yeah. I'm trying to get too distracted by video games in the meantime.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for having us.